Are angels and demons the same kind of beings, just playing for different teams? Let's think about it. Hey, my name's Justin Harrell. I challenge you to challenge yourself to think about less taught biblical topics. Eden, the flood, and Babel. Those are the three rebellions we're looking into. Before we leave the flood and move on to the third, let's examine the ramifications of holding on to this view that angels and women created children together. A few questions have been constantly popping up as we go through this survey of Genesis chapter 6. What are fallen angels? Are they demons? And if angels really had children by human women called Nephilim, whatever happened to them? And which team has better food, angels or demons? Let's play a game! Angel food cake. Angel hair pasta. Deviled ham. Deviled eggs. Devil's food cake. What do you know? The foods that best serve my flesh are named after the devil. Many years ago, I came across a really dumb idea on the origin of angels and demons. I'll share it with you now before we get into the actual answers. It's based on the multiverse, the many worlds theory, where each decision creates a branching universe. Ooh. If the world branches into alternate universes whenever a choice arises, then it could be that the universe split in three at the Garden of Eden. In one version of the universe, Adam and Eve didn't eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, in which case they would have remained sinless and immortal. The angels. In a second version, they eat of the tree of knowledge of good and evil, but also manage to eat of the tree of life, and so will live forever, eternally irredeemable, since Christ can't become one of them and die. They don't die, so they are the demons. The third branch is the one we are familiar with, where Adam and Eve sinned and did not eat from the tree of life. Odd ideas, no doubt, but no more or less reasonable than any other explanation. Where the Bible is silent, speculation can take monstrous proportions. No less reasonable than any other explanation. Really?
Yeah, that is dumb.
Hey, we actually agree. This theory is dumb. First of all, it ignores Scripture. The assumption is the Bible is silent. It's not. Scripture says that angels were around before Adam and Eve ate the fruit.
Boom.
Game over for this theory. And while I'm ranting, the many worlds theory is literally the dumbest idea ever. Think about the ramifications. Jesus dies on the cross in one world, but not in the other. You're a Christian in one world, but not the other. Which version of you is judged? All of them? Why doesn't God just save himself all the trouble and just pluck each person out of the universe where they've never sinned? I could go on and on.
But you won't, right?
No, let's get serious. Angels have physical bodies, but they're different from ours. When they show up, they look like men. They're described as men. The story of Abraham records them as angels and men. Genesis 18:1 and 2. Then the Lord appeared to him by the terebinth trees of Mamre, as he was sitting in the tent door in the heat of the day. So he lifted his eyes and looked, and behold, 3 men were standing by him. And when he saw them, he ran from the tent door to meet them, and bowed himself to the ground. And then Abraham prepares a meal for them, and they eat. Moving down to verse 16 to 18. Then the men rose from there and looked toward Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on their way. And the Lord said, Shall I hide from Abraham what I am doing? Since Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed in him. Here we see a reminder of God involving the other Elohim in his discussions. He turns to the other angels and says, Hey guys, I should probably tell Abraham what's about to go down. Genesis 18:22. Then the men turned away from there and went towards Sodom, but Abraham stood before the Lord. And then once you get to chapter 19, it says, Now the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gate of Sodom. So chapter 19 tells us that they were angels all along, but they looked like men. That's why Hebrews 13:2 says, "Do not forget to entertain strangers, for by so doing some have unwittingly entertained angels." Evidently, they can blend in with the rest of the male population. They can eat, walk, sit, stand, and even run, according to Zechariah 2 verse 4. Angels are divine beings that work alongside God. When God is about to intervene in human history, angels are there. They were there at creation. They were there at the judgment in the garden. They were there at the judgment at Babel. They heralded the arrival of Jesus as Messiah. They were there at the resurrection and ascension, and they will be there when Jesus returns. But what about demons? Most people view angels as the good guys and demons as the bad guys. At the very beginning, some angels chose to be bad
and became demons.
Yeah, that's right.
You're still here? You're still watching?
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, as I was saying, tradition says that a third of the angels became demons. I'm a holy angel, but I want to be bad.
Oh, so bad.
That's centuries of church tradition speaking there. The textual evidence for that tradition is weak. The supernatural realm is more complex and detailed than that. Well, what can we learn from Scripture? Demons don't have bodies, but they want them. Demons have a desire for a body because without them, they can't smell, taste, or feel. But once they get one, they can't help but destroy it because of their extreme hatred of man. You have to ask yourself, why? Demon possession was a big problem in Israel when Jesus walked the earth. He was constantly driving out demons and healing people from their infirmities. You have to ask yourself, why? This was spiritual warfare. Jesus was there to reverse the curse. Jesus was going to restore man and judge evil. The dark side doesn't want any of that. It must be stopped.
That is correct.
It's their MO. Delay judgment as long as possible. Create havoc in human lives. Drive them insane. Make them hurt themselves. Torment them. A good example of this is found in Luke 8:26-31. Then they sailed to the country of the Gadarenes, which is opposite Galilee. And when he stepped out on the land, there he met a certain man from the city who had demons for a long time, and he wore no clothes, nor did he live in a house, but in the tombs. When he saw Jesus, he cried out, fell down before him, and with a loud voice said,
What have I to do with you, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me.
For he commanded the unclean spirit to come out of the man, for it had often seized him, and he was kept under guard, bound with chains and shackles. And he broke the bonds and was driven by the demon into the wilderness. Jesus asked him, saying, What is your name? And he said,
Legion,
because many demons had entered him. And they begged him that he would not command them to go out into the abyss. This man was insane, naked, and tormented by demons. Multiple demons. A legion of demons. Then Jesus shows up and the demons immediately recognize him and are scared to death.
Oh, please don't send us to the abyss.
You know, the bottomless pit? The one where the angels that sinned are locked up in? Another example of possession is in Luke chapter 9, 38 and 39. Suddenly a man from the multitude cried out, saying, Teacher, I implore you, look on my son, for he is my only child. And behold, a spirit seizes him, and he suddenly cries out. It convulses him, so that he foams at the mouth, and it departs from him with great difficulty, bruising him. And in verse 42, then Jesus rebuked the unclean spirit, healed the child, and gave him back to his father. See, again, demons are bad, but are not locked up. That lets you know that the sexual perversion that was going on that got the angels locked up was pretty serious. Throughout the New Testament, these demons are referred to as evil spirits or unclean spirits. You have to ask yourself, why?
That's the third time you said that. Are we going to get answers soon?
Hey man, this is called think about it. Sometimes you need to learn to think for yourself. But yeah, let's answer these questions. So I've posed 3 questions regarding demons. Why do they hate man? Why were there so many demons in Israel for Jesus to cast out? Why are they called evil or unclean spirits? If we solve their origin, then the answer to these and many more questions becomes clear. Colossians 1:16 says, "For by him," speaking of Jesus, "all things were created that are in heaven, that are on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or dominions or principalities or powers. All things were created through him and for him." But did Jesus create a horde of evil creatures? Genesis 1 says no. He looked on all that he had created and said that it was good. That means no demons at the beginning. Do we have anything in Genesis that might answer where demons come from? How about Genesis chapter 6 and the children of angels and women? Angels belong in heaven, but some left there and clothed themselves in such a way to pervert the seed of man. Those angels got locked up. The humans die and await judgment in the underworld. But what about the Nephilim?
Yeah. Good point. What about them?
Well, once dead, their spirit separates from their body. Their spirits are unclean because they are an abomination of creation. Not fully divine, not fully human. They are evil spirits left to roam the earth until the Most High God sends them to the abyss.
Are you just making this stuff up?
No, actually, there are very good reasons to hold this belief. Did you know that many ancient cultures worshiped the dead? The dead were venerated. The Bible uses another name for Nephilim, Rephaim. These were giants that were venerated after death. This means that people were worshiping demons, making sacrifices to demons. Okay, now the New Testament starts to make a whole lot more sense when you read about food being sacrificed to idols. The culture was still participating in venerating the Rephaim, the once living giants, now spirits.
Now demons.
Isaiah 26:14 says, "They are dead. They will not live. They are deceased. They will not rise. Therefore, you have punished and destroyed them and made all their memory to perish." The word translated as deceased here is Rapha, is where we get the word Rephaim. Scripture is saying they will not rise. There's no resurrection for them, only everlasting judgment in hell. Let's look at what 1 Enoch has to say about this. 1 Enoch, chapter 15, verse 8. "But now the giants who were begotten by the spirits and flesh, they will call them evil spirits upon the earth, for their dwelling will be upon the earth. The spirits that have gone forth from the body of their flesh are evil spirits, for from humans they came into being, and from the holy watchers was the origin of their creation. Evil spirits they will be on the earth, and evil spirits they will be called. The spirits of heaven, in heaven is their dwelling, but the spirits begotten in the earth, on earth is their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants lead astray, do violence, make desolate, and attack and wrestle and hurl upon the earth and cause illnesses. They eat nothing, but abstain from food and are thirsty and smite. These spirits will rise up against the sons of men and against the women, for they have come forth from them." Chapter 16. "From the day of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the soul of whose flesh the spirits are proceeding, they are making desolate without incurring judgment. Thus they will make desolate until the day of the consummation of the great judgment, when the great age will be consummated. It will be consummated all at once." Wow, it's all falling into place. Why do they hate man? Because they came from man. Why were so many demons in Israel for Jesus to cast out? Because of all the giants, the Nephilim and Rephaim, that were conquered and killed in the land of Israel. They stayed there roaming the earth. Why are they called evil or unclean spirits? Because they are a hybrid of angelic and human origin. An abomination. Are demons angels? No. But they come from them. Are demons just ghosts of humans? No. But they come from them. When God floods the earth, an entire world of hybrid creatures is wiped out. Their spirits left to wander and be tormented and torment others. Why didn't God just throw them all in the pit? I don't know all those reasons, but in His sovereignty, He allows them to exist for a time, for His purposes. It's something we should think about.